Welcome back to Hot Stove, presented by the General Insurance.
Hello, good morning.
Would you butter a couple of rolls for me there, please?
I could try the peanut butter.
What gum you chewing?
My breath stinks.
Excuse me?
Fly by night, go away from here.
Spring daydreaming, we've been doing it for the past few weeks, trying to hit all 30. And Keith is going to roll up on the Boston Red Sox in a perfect scenario, Keith. Again, I'm more optimistic about the Red Sox than most. What say you?
All right, well, there's a lot of ways we could go with this, guys. We could obviously talk Bogarts out. We could talk Devers' extension. We could talk Trevor's Story being injured, starting the year on the IL. But for the purposes of this exercise, we'll just go glass half full with a few different talking points here. Starting with our guy, Yoshida. Now, these are his numbers in his last 5 seasons in the NPB, and on the right you have what some of the projection systems think he's going to do in the major leagues. There seems to be a wide range of opinions on this guy. You see on the bottom, the Red Sox obviously felt good enough about him to give him a $90 million deal, but you read some of the reaction to that. Some people think he's a 4th outfielder. Some people think he's going to step right in and hit leadoff. Anything could happen, and obviously we know the track record with pitchers coming over from the NPB is stronger than position players. There seems to be a little more difficult time projecting how they're going to perform compared to the pitchers. Now, how about at first base? Tristan Casas. Got a little preview of him last year. Hit 5 home runs in September, only hit 197, but it's a small sample size. He flashed that power, and here's what he did in the upper levels of the minors. 25 homers and essentially what amounts to a full season, at least a full season of the major league schedule at 158 games. They've tried Bobby Dahl back there over the last couple of years, haven't been able to get any traction with him. So can Casas hold down that position and provide some power for them?
You got to give him his at-bats, right?
I agree. And he's already talked about how he'd be open to an extension. I mean, he's barely even a couple months into his career, and he's already talking about getting himself entrenched in Boston. He's obviously got to prove it on the field, but could be a good fit there. Now, how about on the pitching side? Brian Bayo. This guy moved quick last year through the minor leagues. You see he dominated in Double-A, solid in Triple-A, and a little shaky in his debut in the majors, but he flashed that great stuff. And Harold, he's working with one of our own guys this offseason. Pedro is all about Brian Bayo. You see some of this video of them down in the Dominican working out together. Pedro is all over this guy's stuff. The movement he has on his sinker. His changeup was great in the majors last year. He does look like Pedro.
What's this delivery?
Yep.
Yeah.
Pedro talked about how flexible he is. He's athletic. He just needs to kind of work on that third pitch to go with that sinker and the changeup.
That's a prideful move from Pedro. He's gonna love. You got a kid from his area pitching for the Sox. He's all in.
Yeah, he's in on that.
He's all in.
Couple more for you guys here, still on the pitching side. Garrett Whitlock. We're going to get our first extended look at him in the rotation. He's made a handful of starts, but mostly worked out of the bullpen. Now, the thing with him as a reliever, guys, you see the innings totals. Not working one inning like most relievers are in these days. Matty, I feel like we worked a game together early in his career at Yankee Stadium where he worked 3 or 4 innings out of the bullpen. So we've seen him go multiple innings, but haven't gotten an extended look in the rotation.
What'd you guys think of him?
I am. This is the guy. This is the perfect example for what we talk about here, Keith. Where on paper you look at the numbers, okay, great. When the eyeball test on this guy takes him to a whole nother level.
Yeah,
I agree.
I'm in on this dude, man. Like, honestly, this is a, fantasy league buy. This is if I'm running a general manager of a team, I'm interested. Like, I love this dude. He's what they look like for me.
I absolutely agree. And one last one, guys, someone we're all familiar with. Only question here, obviously, is health. Can Chris Sale finally put together a healthy season? One of the most durable starters in the league for the better part of a decade in Chicago in his early time in Boston, but just 36 starts over the last handful of seasons, just 11 in the last 2. He missed the entire COVID season, but he's going to be healthy heading into spring. Can he stay healthy throughout the year and contribute in Boston? So like I said, guys, this obviously isn't a full preview of the team, just some things to potentially be optimistic about. The floor is yours. We can go anywhere we want. How do we see the Red Sox in that stacked AL East?
You want to start or you want me to start?
No,
I got one thing that I want to hit you on because we've said this before. I think it merits repeating. Yoshida is the guy that this front office group has essentially hung their cap on. Whether they intended that to happen when they signed him or not is another story. But in the absence of Xander Bogaerts, who was allowed to walk, and I get it. I get letting Xander Bogaerts walk because an 11-year deal for a 31-year-old shortstop, the Red Sox, as much as they loved him, as much as they wanted him to play his whole career in Boston, they couldn't match that price. So I got it. So as it turns out, the $90 million you spent on the Japanese-born outfielder rather, Yoshida, is the big move of the offseason. And you got to worry a little bit about that kind of financial commitment to a position player coming in from the Japanese Professional League. Look, the last two examples of Japanese-born outfielders, it just hasn't panned out as well. Tsutsugo, right? He came over with a big pedigree. We thought this was going to be a beast, a power-hitting outfielder, corner infield type. Didn't work out. Akiyama, who the Reds thought was going to be a versatile,
leadoff guy. Very similar to what this guy's supposed to do.
Didn't work out. So there has to be a little bit of concern there if you're a Red Sox fan. And as much as I am more positive on Boston than most, that would be something that I really hope works well for them.
Well, obviously they're in a transitional time. And it's difficult for a club like the Red Sox to go through transition because they're expected to be at the top of the division every year. Mm-hmm. But this is a downturn. They're turning things around. I do think you got to let your young guys play and see what they're going to do if that's where you're at. And you have to allow them the proper at-bats or the proper innings to pitch to see what you really have if that's the direction you're going in. And I think that's where this club is at right now. I think they're going to have some pleasant surprises with their young players that really step up and perform well. And you go, all right, we got something moving forward for the future, not for this season.
Yeah.
I think this is a year that they really are able to get their eyes on their players and see where are we truly at. And the beauty of this, and I'll end up with this, is that the Red Sox can flip it on a dime if they want to. They can go through this and say, you know what, it's not working, it's not going to be fast enough. Boom, we're in the free agent market.
Yeah.
Because they have the ability to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Here's the name on that, and I'll end it with this. I was trying to access the guy who I remembered in Oakland who went to camp in '87 with Mark McGwire, and there was some question as to which one of them was going to be the starter. And I'm going to get that for you because it's Rob Nelson. You remember the name Rob Nelson?
Yeah.
He and Mark McGwire, both power-hitting first basemen. The Red Sox have to figure out if Tristan Casas is the buy and hold or if it's Bobby Dahlbeck, because you're going to maximize the other guy right now.
Right. I agree.
If one guy just languishes on the bench and ends up going back to Worcester for the whole year, you're not doing him any favors, and you're not doing your organization any favors because you haven't maximized the return.
Yeah.
Pick one of those guys, make him the guy, and trade the other guy someplace else and try to get better. And give the other guy a chance to play every day.